Hi, this is Mina Adekoya. This is the first episode of the Project Random podcast. And today we have a very interesting topic. We also have a very interesting guest. His name is Soji. And he is the Ife Prince, apparently. So, so today we're going to be talking about, well, let me just tell you what the Project Random podcast is. It is basically my fascination with different things and different topics and different issues. And, well, basically me tearing it apart with my friends. And maybe just rationalizing it and making some sense to it. So obviously I would love it if any of my listeners could join in the conversation. We're on Twitter at that's DA Project Random. So that is at DA Project Random. Feel free to join us on Twitter, and well, basically I will try to converse with as many people as possible. We also have an email, so if you have any stories you would like us to tear apart or basically just make sense of or share, or you would like to be a guest, feel free to send me an email, projectrandompodcast@gmail.com. So that is okay. So now I'm going to get to the story. Today we're discussing ghost husbands.
Like half of the husbands in this world are ghost husbands. Never.
Well, this is a myth in Yoruba culture and tradition. Apparently, there's a particular legend. There's a myth called the Akudaaya. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it well. If I am not, please correct me. Feel free to correct me. Send me a message. Send me, a recording of you pronouncing it properly.
Make sure you're pronouncing it properly too.
Yeah, make sure you're pronouncing it properly too, because I'll make fun of you if you're not. Basically, I don't think they're all men or all women or all children. That's what this is. This is about. This is a story of a ghost husband. So, sometime in 2013, Taye Lolu Abdurrahman knocked on the door of her grand uncle. She was expecting a very warm welcome with 3 kids in tow and heavily pregnant, and she got diddly squat. She got the surprise. She got surprised of her life.
Her grand uncle will probably not really care.
And the story was the uncle. I'm sorry to make fun of her. I'm sorry. I'm not making light of it. It's not funny. It's just
definitely.
I'm sure. It's just if you're watching it from the outside, I'm sure it'd be funny. To be comedic moment. And she knocked on the door expecting a warm welcome from her grand uncle and his family, and she got diddly squat. Her uncle was surprised that she was hired by his nephew, because apparently his nephew had been dead for 20 years. Yeah. And to even further cement the point, like to say it very well, he showed her the grave. Like that day.
Wow.
And that was a brutal shock to her, because she had seen her father like less than maybe 30 minutes before that moment, and he just described the house to her, and she just went there and knocked with the kids, and that was it, and she never saw him again. Now I'm going to tell you the background story of Taye Lolu. Taye Lolu was a twin. She had a twin brother, Kehinde.
Lolu.
I don't know if that's how they pronounce it, but it's Kehinde.
No, definitely.
It was Kehinde. He was a brother, and according to her, she and her brother were raised in this house with access to electricity through a generator, constant money, and and they didn't go to school, they didn't do anything. I think there has to be a law against stuff like that. I'm just saying. But they didn't go to school, they didn't do anything. They just basically lived well. And every single time she asked her dad for money, he was willing to give her money. Then they had something called a tonner, which is a god that is used to find your way home. So they'll break it in front of as they get out of the house, they break it right there in front of the doorstep, and from there on they'll be able to go out, get some money, go out, buy what they need to buy. My point is, when they spend this money,
ridiculous.
When they spend this money, does the money vanish? Is it real money? Or is it fake?
I don't know.
Where does this money come from? Is it coins? Is it dollars? Is it naira? What money is it? Anyways, her dad didn't have a job, but he always had money. this stinks of, like a cartel leader or something, like some...
Or blood money.
No blood money. Like, I'm just thinking from a rational point of view, a guy that always has money, maybe he robbed a bank like millions of years ago and just had money. And instead of putting it in the bank, he put it inside a gourd.
What?
So every time they broke
you have
it,
to break the gourd
to get it,
like a piggy bank.
Yeah.
Shipping a piggy bank.
I'm just saying. So this was our experience. This is what she did. This is what happened. And the reason why she got booted out of the community, because it was a community, was many years, well, after she had grown to a certain age, she got married, and she got married to another person who was also a ghost. See, so her father was a ghost.
Her father was a ghost?
Yeah, her father was a ghost. He had died 20 years prior to the time she knocked on her uncle's door.
Okay.
Yes. And then her husband was also a ghost. Now, she had 4 kids.
Who were probably ghosts.
Maybe half ghosts.
Half ghosts.
Yeah. So they must have like superpowers and stuff. So when she got married to this man, she just kept on living her life normally. And her brother, when he came of age to marry, her father picked a woman for him, and he rejected it and said he wasn't going to get married to one of them. And when she asked her brother what that meant, he said, "You wouldn't understand, you're just a woman." So there's even patriarchy in the ghost world. Anyways. So
they used to be human. Just carry the character.
Just carried it to the spirit world, man. A few months down the line from that incident, her brother was eating one day, he choked, and then he died, and that was it. And right the minute after her brother died, her father had no remorse. He took the body and just buried it somewhere that she couldn't find it. And she asked her father where he buried the brother, and it was like, "Oh, by the way, so some clerics came and buried him and prayed over his body, and he's been, we've buried him already." And then she was like, clerics didn't come. Oh my God. Clerics didn't come. Clerics didn't come when I had children. When I had 3 children to pray over my 3 kids, they came to pray over my brother. That is ridiculous. And then she now started to, insist on meeting her family, her father's family and her husband's family. Her father had already told her that they're from Osun State, and
Oh my word.
So she had already known that was her roots. She insisted that her dad take her to Osun State, and then her dad did. He took her there and then vanished 30 minutes before she knocked on her uncle's door. So that is basically the story. According to her, she didn't know that people used to walk. She didn't know about that walk life.
She didn't know that.
She didn't know.
Anything like employment.
She didn't know jack shit. She just knew that money used to come out of gods.
Money just comes out of the piggy god.
Yeah. So she didn't know anything. So she was like, "Oh my God, I'm suffering so much now."
I'm working.
So, she didn't know that you needed to work to get money, and she didn't know that she was too young to have had 3 children by 20. She didn't know. There's so many things that she didn't know. So basically, she stayed with her in-laws for I think a week or 2. When they clearly showed that they weren't interested in helping out or welcoming her, she decided to go look for her mom's people. She went there, met a reporter, spoke to him. That's how her story got out, actually. And after that, she now went to see her husband's people because a cabbie stopped in the middle of the road, saw her, or was it bike man? I'm not quite sure. Stopped and told her that it was her birthday and he was going to give her a new phone. I don't know what that gist was all about, but that was reported in the newspaper. I don't know what that means. That was it. And then I think she ran into somebody. She was at the mosque, and then a man appeared and he said, why was she keeping her kids away from his grandparents? That she should take the kids home to his grandparents. That's her husband's parents. And then she had no money, obviously. She actually borrowed 200 naira from a cleric and basically biked her way all the way to that place to get all this, because the threat was that if she didn't do that, her kids would die. Every one of them would die. So she did that, and she got there, and obviously she got the same welcome that she got at home because they don't know who she is. As of 2013, she was still heavily pregnant. I'm sure she's given birth by now. It's 2016. I'm sure she's giving birth. And I wonder about this story because this is a Yoruba myth. And when I was a child, I heard this story about a guy that died months or whether years before. And one day, his wife, who had moved or his sister who had moved to a different state altogether, saw him in the market.
Just
like alive. Yeah, just randomly in the market, buying shit.
Buying tomatoes.
He was buying stuff like a person, like a normal person. And she freaked. And as she was freaking out, she turned to say, "Hey, come see my brother." And then his brother vanished. Like literally vanished right there in front of her.
Like your Nollywood movie.
Exactly. The worst part of it, the whole story, was that I think his family was close by and they literally saw him vanish as well. Yeah. So, and then the sister, who, by the way, I'm sure doesn't have money, now is not responsible for a wife and 3 kids. And this is a myth that is very puzzling to me because I'm not saying that these things aren't real or it's real, but has anybody checked her out mentally to see if she's bipolar? Because people make up stuff. I mean, there's a lot of mental illnesses in Nigeria and we don't know what is going on. I'm not saying a reality isn't real. If it's not real, there's no God or there's no generator somewhere, because I'm just wondering. So ghosts need electricity too? Yeah, and watch TV. Really? So they have DSTV.
And they need money.
Who set up the DSTV for them?
Yeah, probably ghost multi-choice.
Because there's so many parts of this story that don't make sense. Like, so you're a ghost and you eat.
Well, vampires eat too.
So if you're a ghost, like, I think it's a concept. I think maybe it's reincarnation. And another part of this thing that I would like to bring to mind is Haiti, the country. A couple of years ago, precisely in 1981, Angelina Narcisse let out an attention-grabbing scream in an open market in the town of Le Esther. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. It's French. The thing about it wasn't that there was a robber there or anything. It's not as if anybody attacked her. The reason why she screamed was because she saw her brother. The last time she saw her brother was, 1962. He was sick. And they took him to the hospital, and right there and then he had shakes, he had a temperature, he was dehydrated. Doctor said they couldn't do anything for him, and then he died. They buried him. When they were done burying him, they got on with their lives. Now, so 20 years after, she sees him in the marketplace, and
why is he always in the marketplace?
Because it's pretty random. You wouldn't expect that they would be there.
I know it's cinema or something.
And the cinema is dark.
I mean, before you get into the
movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Buying popcorn or
a
condo.
Right, because ghosts don't eat popcorn. It's unhealthy. Anyways, according to him, he didn't die. When he was declared dead, he actually heard his sister crying, heard the doctors when they declared him dead. He couldn't say anything, he couldn't move, he couldn't open his eyes. He felt like he was in his body, but he wasn't. Like he was in his body, but
coma.
Exactly. And he was buried like that. And when he was buried, he said somebody came and woke him up. They dug him out and then gave him something, and he woke up. And then the minute he woke up, he was able to, they now drugged him again, and this time into a zombie state, and made him work in a farm for years. I'm very shady about the numbers. You can go do your research. Yeah, please, internet is your friend. Google is your friend. I know about the Nigerian one. I'm not sure. But I'm trying to link the two stories. And Haiti has a lot of history from Africa, and I would be absolutely sure that there are a couple of Yorubas living in Haiti and I'm sure about that. So I'm sure that maybe it's an evolved Akudaaya, that's led to the zombie culture. Can you imagine that the exact root of zombie culture is from Yoruba culture? I mean, I thought it was Haiti before because that was the original story that I heard. But the first time I heard the Haiti story, I thought about the Akudaaya story. But I didn't make the links until I read Taye Lulu's story. And now I can make the connections because I think that there's a whole lot of things that we don't know. Because of this, there's this idea that everything that cannot be explained is
not real.
No, that it's not real. It's not, is spiritual.
Oh, okay.
Which and it just feeds your superstition pretty much. That is the story. There's so many stories like that from Haiti. He's not the only one. There's a woman too that disappeared for like 5 years, and you just saw her walking randomly on the street. And do you know the funniest thing? Clavius Nassis, the guy, the brother of Angelina, used to come to the house and dress like a mad person. And they didn't recognize him. He used to come check up on them. And the reason why he thinks that it happened to him was because at that particular point in time, he and his brother were having a dispute on land. It sounds very Nigerian.
Before he died?
Yes. They were having a dispute on land, I think some property that their father had left for them. When he was dug up, he was told that he was his brother that initiated the death. Because of that, he couldn't return home because he was scared that his brother would do it again or would try to kill him this time and probably succeed. When his brother died, that's when he was able to move around properly and actually go home. So I think, and from what I hear about the Haiti zombies, it is triggered by a toxin that is injected into the victim, which now fakes death. And then the person is buried like that. And it's one or two things. It's either the person is dug up and killed properly, or the person is dug up, given the antidote, and given another drug to
put the
person in a controllable state. So that's what led to the zombie culture. And the thing about it is there's so many stories like that. There's so many instances of people rising up from the dead, and although not eating flesh or brains.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Not eating flesh.
Zombies, don't they try to suck your brain out?
Yeah, well, no, they apparently they're just regular human beings that didn't die. And
so the Americans just had to...
Yeah, they had to make it more... Yes, they had to make it more gory because it wasn't gory enough to...
boring.
Yeah, it wasn't gory enough for you to be buried alive for 6 feet under... for days and be farming. Exactly.
Terrorizing.
Exactly. The things that we do to other human beings is the horrible things that we do to other human beings is we have no limits. We literally have no limits. Now that I've told the story, we could tear it apart a bit if you want.
I think the story tears itself apart.
You think the story tears?
The story tears itself apart to some extent. I mean, because first of all, why in the world will you want to inject someone with a toxin to kill the person, then raise the person up from the dead
to work on a farm?
Why? As in,
is it because they need
slavery?
Something is advanced slavery.
And again, I don't think all of them work on a farm. Maybe they do.
Yeah, some of them were made to do things for the person that raises them up is a high priest called Boko.
Haram. Oh, sorry.
Boko or something like that. So I really don't know how to pronounce these words. Please forgive me. I mean, if you're from Haiti and you're listening to me and you oh my God, this girl is killing our language, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Even my own, I can't pronounce this word. Don't be angry. Anyways, proceed. So proceed.
That sounds so. Yeah. I don't know why anybody would do that, like I said, but at the end of the day, it sounds like a ridiculous fantasy type thing. I don't know. Some people will say they saw somebody that they knew that had died long ago in the market, roaming freely. I've heard these things. As a Yoruba guy, you grow up, or a Yoruba person, you grow up hearing these fables, Maybe it's just to scare you, like all these willy and all those things like that.
But have you ever had anybody that you know for sure Like, when I mean no, for sure, like, as in, like, no, this person says, oh, I definitely saw
like
this.
Someone that had the experience.
Yes, they saw this person.
No.
Because
I've heard things,
because I'm very fascinated by the Akudaaya myth. I would like to know people that have seen this person, like, literally vanish right in front of them. Yep. Like, how does he do it? Is it like in a mist way, or or you just blink and it's no more there?
Sparkles.
Exactly, sparkles. Is it like the sun just blights your eye and then all of a sudden you can't see anything? Like, I would like to know how the vanishing happens. And then those who have lived with them, what do they eat? Is it regular spaghetti and beans? I want to know.
Well, I mean, I don't know why it goes to eat, but if you're in human,
do they sleep? No, I want to see. This is scientific. This is a scientific discovery here.
Yeah.
Like, it means that human beings can live for longer than they actually die. No,
just the body.
No, well, they can live.
Habited.
And there's another theory, actually, that they're actually jinns that inhabit these bodies.
Like what?
Jinns. It's a Muslim. It's a Muslim being. No, well, it's not Muslim. It's in the Quran.
Spirit beings.
Yeah, it's said in the Quran that there are spirits that live in an alternate universe that can come into our universe.
Possession.
Something of that sort. So they can possess a dead person and then go on to live as this person. They will make this person's life and this person's thing. But the point is, why don't they just live in the person's family? I mean, if this person has a lot of money, because sometimes some of these families, they come from really rich. Some of these people, they come from really rich
Some
homes.
actually come from like low to middle, low class.
Yeah, some of them do, but
it goes across the board.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, there's this thing about names in Yoruba culture when they call someone Baba Tunde, Yetunde, things like that. So it's said that when, say, someone's father dies at the time when his wife gives birth, there's this belief that the spirit of the father goes into the baby and the baby is born. So essentially the father is reborn.
So she's raising her father. That's nice.
Pretty much.
That's nice. That's so nice.
And if the guy was wicked, she can get to whip him.
That's so nice.
Yeah, anyway, so I don't know if that's like a version of Akudaaya, but I think Akudaaya, they like go elsewhere totally.
Yeah, Akudaaya goes elsewhere. They die, they're buried.
They're the same person.
They're buried, they're the same person.
Same person.
And they go, they're somewhere else and they're living completely different life. So basically they have one family in town A and go all the way to town Z to procreate, to
live regular lives.
Live regular lives, have regular jobs and stuff. So yeah.
So I'm thinking, in the issue of, say, Baba Tunde, dad dies, spirit kind of slithers his way into the baby and he gets reborn.
So weird.
So he has to kind of like grow back to an adult.
Yeah.
But this Akudaaya dude
doesn't. That's another thing. Doesn't. It's like he dies and he reappears and then reappears somewhere else and just starts living.
Dude is grown.
He's grown. He already has
same
his
body.
He already has his attitudes. He's set in his ways.
Probably same clothes.
Chauvinistic if he is, wife beater if he is.
Alcoholic,
if he is, everything, and then he's just alive.
Yeah. So the question is, when this Akudaaya guy died, did his body come back from the dead? Did he dig himself out of the grave?
I would like to know.
Maybe enter
a boss. Who paid?
How did he get money? Maybe there was money in his pants, the pants he was buried in.
Right. That would make so much sense.
I'm thinking how the Baba Tunde one
makes sense.
Makes a bit of sense.
Yeah. Even Abiku makes a little bit of sense.
Abiku, those ones, I don't really know why they do what they do. They just like switch on and off, I don't know. But this Akudaaya dude just travel.
And the thing is, it's not even just men; it's women too. Women can do it too. So women, like when I was younger.
Pregnant?
Yes, when I was younger, I heard about stories of women that actually died in point A, maybe died just before they got married or died before something, and then they go on to another state, meet some handsome guy. You know, they tell the man that, oh, sorry, I don't have any family members. They're all dead, and then go on to live this life, have kids with this guy, and then this guy is like, wait, woman. You mean to tell me that there's nobody?
Nobody.
And she's like, there's this like grandmother that lives in one state. And it's like, oh, okay, let's go there with family and children and everything. And they all get there. And 5 seconds before they get to the door, she's like, bro, I'm coming. I want to go and say hi to one person. And she disappears. Exactly. No, my story now is, what happens to that person that disappears? Does the person disappear back to the home?
No.
Or disappears
to another state
and starts all over again. Like, man, that is so wicked.
That is weird.
So is it like the only reason why they come to life is because they haven't fulfilled what they're supposed to have done? So her dream in life was to get married, have kids.
Could it be that have you ever heard of these stories where, somebody dies, maybe sees a white light, and maybe God tells the person, you have not finished your assignment, go back. And the person comes back from the dead. By that time, it's buried or something. I don't know. Everybody just assumes it's dead. Some don't. Some are not buried. They just wake up, and everybody be like, "Oh, it's a miracle." But some are already like, "It's a done deal. This person is dead." So by the time he wakes up, maybe he's scared to go back to the family, not to freak them out or something. So he decides to just move out.
Excuse me. If I died and I woke up and I can get out of my grave, I will come back home.
I'll run away from you.
I will come back home.
Would you be?
Wait, are you kidding me?
Would you worry about me?
So where would I live? I'll live under the bridge.
You'll never be the same again.
Of course I wouldn't. That's normal.
Yeah, I mean, our relationship will never be the same. I'll look at you like, oh, this babe.
Then I wouldn't talk to you again. I mean,
why are you talking?
That's simple.
You woke up from the dead.
It'd be simple.
Why
It'd be
are you
very
talking
simple.
in the first place?
So, I would like to know if you have any thoughts on the Akudaaya myth, if you have had any close contact with this person. I'm just putting out there, I don't mean to make fun of myths, or that's not my thing. The thing is to rationalize the myths that we have on ground, and this is one of them. This has always had I've always had a fascination for this particular myth because I heard it so long ago when I was a kid, and it always struck me, and it always made me think, oh, that's such a horrible thing to do, like die, go start a family somewhere else. Then when the family insists on meeting your family, then you now vanish.
Vanish like that.
Just vanish. Like, it's just...
When you get found out.
And then you just leave the other person. Like, imagine if that was her soulmate. Her soulmate was a ghost. Like, think about that.
I'm wondering, if you're married to some dude that happens to be an Akudaaya, wouldn't there be like some warning signs that this dude is not normal?
Well, according to Taya Lulu, her dad never went out except by 11 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
And he would go out and eat somewhere. And then one day she begged him to take her out. And he took her with him. And when he got there, she saw a pot that had no firewood underneath, but was boiling. Oh, no. I think I should have led with that story. Anyways, the pot was boiling. The pot was boiling, and there was nothing in. There was food inside, and a lady was dishing out the food, and Taya Lulu, ignorant child that she is, says, "Daddy, daddy, daddy, there's no fire inside this tea. How is the pot still boiling?" Dumbass. And then the lady goes, and the woman serving the food goes, yeah, so this girl's not supposed to be here. She's not one of us.
Yeah,
get her out.
Obviously.
And that was the last time she saw that. And ever since then, she stopped eating her dad's food, started cooking hers. Like, duh, of course you're going to start cooking your food yourself. Like, that is basic. You're supposed to know how to cook your food. Duh.
So she noticed that. How about his wife?
Her mom wasn't alive.
Oh, her mom was.
She was living just with her. She was just living. She didn't even know if her mom was late. There's no story about her mom at all.
She never met her mom.
She just used to live with her dad and her brother. Wow. Yeah. my sentiments entirely. So if you have any updates on the story, please send us an email or send us a recording. I will play it on my podcast. You'll be famous, I promise. Or send us a tweet. I will read it out as well. Thank you for listening. This is the first episode of the Project Random Podcast.
Random.
Okay then. Bye.
Project Random is an attribute initiative. It is supported by Law Union and Rock Insurance PLC. Music was created by Christopher Ogwehi and recorded at the Attribute Studio, Lagos, Nigeria.